15 fell dead in Zamfara tragedy amid bandit attacks. Bandits wreak havoc on Katsina, leave residents traumatized. Northeast governors raise alarm over humanitarian crisis. Africa CDC, WHO unveils continental plan to eliminate cholera. Hello, welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Hawa Gambo. Thank you for joining us. Tragedy struck in Zamfara state where at least 15 people have died and 3 others are missing after a boat capsized in Gumi local government area. The victims, mostly children and women, are fleeing from bandit attacks when the overcrowded boat overturned near Nasarawa and Kifi in Birnin Tuduwad. The ill-fated boat, built to carry just 16 passengers, was making its third trip when 2 women forced their way on board, leading to the accident. A mass funeral has since been held in line with Islamic rites, led by Liman Yahaya. Local divers are still searching for those missing. The head of the Sokoto field office of the National Emergency Management Agency, ASUU Shehu, confirmed the incident and said a joint NEMA and Zamfara emergency team will visit the area to deliver relief materials to affected families. This latest disaster adds to the growing humanitarian challenges facing rural communities already under siege by bandit attacks. A cholera outbreak has hit several communities in Zamfara state, with health officials linking the crisis to bandit attacks. The Gusau local government health education officer Abubakar Nasara said about 70% of the cases are caused by contamination from decomposing bodies of victims of banditry. He explained that corpses left in water sources after attacks have polluted the environment, sparking the outbreak. Nasara described the situation as dire, recalling a similar outbreak in 1996 that claimed many lives. The state government says it is stepping up intervention measures and has placed long-term health solutions. The International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, says at least 23,659 people are currently missing across Nigeria. Speaking in Yola on Saturday during this year's International Day of the Disappeared, ICRC's Protection of Family Link Officer Benson Lee revealed that most of the disappearances were linked to armed conflicts and other forms of violence. He disclosed that Borno State accounts for 67% of the cases due to the prolonged insurgency in the region, while nearly 69% of those missing were minors at the time of their disappearance. Lee said the ICRC has been working to trace missing persons and reunite them with their families, but stressed the urgent need for all parties in conflict to take measures to prevent further disappearances. He appealed for empathy and support for families still searching for their loved ones, saying they deserve to feel that their relatives are not forgotten. Insecurity, characterized by indiscriminate killings, cattle rustling, kidnappings for ransom, and the mass displacement of families have devastated several communities across Katsina state. Consequently, thousands of people have been killed, hundreds remain traumatized, and millions have lost their means of livelihood to banditry. Abdullahi Ahmadi visited 3 hard-hit communities in Naalma ward of Malumfashi local government area and brings in this report.
For many residents, their stories are nothing short of horror. Naalma, once a vibrant community of over 3,000 people, is now home to fewer than 150. Those who remain lament that no economic or social life exists here. Even funeral rites must be conducted under armed security watch. The hoodlums infiltrate our village from nearby bandit-ridden areas such as Garangozai, Agulawa, Karu, Salihawa, Gidan Maijimina, Manna, hayin gidan yawa, Turawa and Alhazawa, mostly in Musawa local government with a few in Malumfashi. We feel abandoned and rejected. We have been crying for help, but nothing has been done. The story here is killings and abductions. We hardly sleep at night. Even naming or wedding ceremonies don't hold here. They are taken elsewhere. Funerals must be under tight security watch. 9 people, including 4 men and 5 women, abducted from Naalma have remained in captivity for over 2 months because their families cannot afford ransom payments. Bad roads linking these communities make response to emergencies difficult, if not impossible. At neighboring Ungwerbogo, over 15 residents were killed in 10 separate attacks. More than 50 cows were rustled, 15 residents taken hostage, and over 30 million naira paid in ransom, with little result. My son, a graduate of a health institution, was killed here. I can't sleep. I spend nights outside the village and only return during the day to attend to a few things. I was shot in the hand by a bandit. My only crime was that I had no money or phone to give them. They forced me to raise my hand above my shoulder and then fired into my palm in broad daylight. The attacks here are frequent and deadly, mostly in broad daylight. More than 1,500 residents have fled. In Ungwerbogo, another farming community, over 100 people abandoned their homes. 2 women remain in captivity for more than 3 months. My daughter has been in captivity for over 3 months. The bandits are demanding for 3 million naira ransom, which I cannot afford. I must, however, appreciate the DPO of Malumfashi for his resilience and commitment during this trying time. Security operatives are currently on high alert along major highways, with surveillance intensified across Funtua Zone, where banditry continues to claim lives and destroy properties worth hundreds of millions of naira. Abdullahi Izumayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
The Kaduna State Police Command has issued a strong warning to individuals and groups against disrupting the peace currently enjoyed in the state. This follows an alleged political meeting linked to former Governor Nasir El-Rufai, which reportedly descended into violence and sporadic gunfire on Saturday in Kaduna. According to the police, the gathering was organized under the platform of the African Democratic Congress Coalition without prior notification to security agencies. The State Command's Public Relations Officer, DSP Mansur Hassan, said in a statement that the police will not spare anyone found culpable regardless of their status, stressing that no one is above the law. The statement added that despite repeated warnings, the organizers went ahead with the meetings, creating an opportunity for thugs to unleash violence. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has launched a new joint task force, Operation Enduring Peace, to tackle insecurity across Plateau, Bauchi and Kaduna states. The initiative, which replaces the former Operation Safe Haven, was officially flagged in Jos. Ado Musa brings in the report.
At the flag-off, the Chief of Defense Staff explained that new equipment have been deployed to strengthen the operation in the affected communities. He noted that Operation Safe Haven had made significant contributions in addressing complex security challenges within the joint operations area. General Musa added that the rebranded operation reflects a broader mandate, a renewed sense of purpose, and a stronger resolve to deliver not just temporary safety, but lasting peace for generations to come.
Before it was safe haven, now it's enduring peace. Because what we think we need is more peace. Like I said, it's not only for us to win the war, it's to win the peace. Because if we win the war without winning the peace, there won't be any problem. So we have reached that stage now is to bring a peace that is going to be enduring for everyone to benefit from it. And that's why we're here, and that's why the new building is a new mindset I want to create within the troops to know that we need to work with the communities. The communities must trust us. And trust is not something you buy. It's people see your action and inaction, then they know your trust, and that's what we want to gain. So we're going to rally on everyone to work together, and we want to appeal to Nigerians to give the support to members of the armed forces, because we are determined and dedicated, committed to ensuring that there's peace everywhere we operate.
Representatives of both Kaduna and Plateau State highlighted the importance of the operation.
We are here today to witness the change, not just change. We have been able to see that there is now incoming the normal thing that we refer to as the 3 R's. And we are going to see a more revived and rejuvenated security agency. We have gone around, we have seen the equipments that have been given to them. We have seen some foots on ground, and we are sure that the enemies now will be jittery.
Look, a criminal is a criminal. It is only when I am able to expose the criminal under me, under my roof, and the other person exposes his, that's where we can have peace. And I think with what I'm seeing here, it is already coming to our doorstep.
With the branding to Operation Enduring Peace, personnel are now tasked with confronting criminal threats, especially in vulnerable communities within the joint operations area. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has expressed frustration over what it described as the federal government's continued inaction on issues affecting its members. ASUU said it will only accept a tangible counteroffer to the 2009 agreement, which is currently being reviewed by a federal government committee led by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Abel Enitan. Minister of Education Tunji Alausa had on Thursday disclosed that the technical committee headed by Enitan was finalizing a clean proposal to be presented to ASUU. The 2009 agreement remains the last signed deal between the federal government and the union, and ASUU has continued to demand its review for improved welfare and working conditions of lecturers. ASUU National President Chris Piwuna stressed that the union would not accept anything short of a meaningful and realistic offer from the government. The Katsina state government has revoked the licenses of all private and community schools operating across the state. In a circular signed by the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary School Education, Zainab Musa Musawa, the government said the move takes effect from August 13, 2025, following approval by the State Executive Council. The commissioner reaffirmed the ministry's commitment to safeguarding the future of children by aligning with global best practices in education. She added that schools are expected to continue normal operations while the process of registering the annual licensing renewal is underway. The government says the move is part of a wider reform aimed at raising standards in the state's education sector. This is the news update on Trust TV, coming up after the break. Northeast governors raise alarm over humanitarian crisis. More news when we return. Do stay with us. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Now let's take a look at some of our top stories. 15 fell dead in Zamfara tragedy amid bandit attacks. Bandits wreak havoc on Katsina, leaving residents traumatized. And now, moving to other stories. The federal government has barred consultants, corps members, and other non-permanent workers from being listed on ministries and agencies' personnel payrolls in the 2026 budget. A circular from the Budget Office, signed by the Director General Tinubu, warned that only legitimate federal employees should appear in personnel cost estimates. It stressed that corps members' allowances will be captured under the NYC budget, while any extra stipends must come from overheads. The circular also banned anticipatory promotions and announced the launch of a real-time monitoring dashboard to track payroll spending. MDAs have until July 15th to submit their 2026 personnel proposals with sanctions for violations. The call for a fresh minimum wage increase is causing division among the labor leaders across the country. While some state chapters of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress say they are ready to push for another increment, others insist it is not yet time. The debate follows wage hikes in Imo and Ebonyi states, which raised salaries above the 70,000 naira benchmark approved by President Bola Tinubu last year. Leaders in states like Yobe, Niger, Ogun, Ekiti, Anambra, and Lagos back a review, citing inflation and rising living costs. But counterparts in Plateau, Benue, and Akwa Ibom dismissed the move as ill-timed, given current fiscal and security challenges. The national minimum wage by law is meant to be reviewed every 3 years. The governors of Nigeria's northwest are warning of an impending flood disaster that could further threaten livelihoods in the region. The call came at the close of the Northeast Governors Forum meeting in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital. Here's the report.
The 12th meeting of the Northeast Governors Forum ended with a strong warning. Credible forecasts indicate that floods may soon hit the region, compounding existing humanitarian and infrastructure challenges. In a communique signed by the forum's chairman and Borno State Governor, Babagana Umara Zulum, the governors urged proactive measures including massive sensitization of communities living along floodplains.
I urge us to focus on pressing and resolving issues such as security, agriculture, education, healthcare, and infrastructure, amongst others. It is my hope that our discussions will be frank, pragmatic, and focused on taking practical steps that will accelerate the transformation of our region. To achieve this, we require the full cooperation and support of the federal government in providing an enabling environment to attract both local and foreign investment and to promote the establishment of small and medium-scale enterprises. Further to the recent release of 2025 annual flood outlook by the National Hydrological Services Agency and the seasonal climate prediction from the Nigeria Meteorological Agency, it is imperative to highlight that our sub-region is projected to face an accelerated flood risk category.
The governors also appealed to the federal government and the Northeast Development Commission to urgently rebuild collapsed bridges and other critical infrastructure damaged by previous floods.
I appeal to this August forum to kindly add its weight to the call for the Northeast Development Commission to expedite action on the collapsed and threatened bridges in our region, specifically the collapsed Mamne Bridge in Gaso local government and the Tela Bridge in the same Gaso local government. Also the Mayo Kam Bridge in Bali local government, the Pamanga Bridge in Adokola local government, the Maraba Pantisao Lacheke Bridge, Yoro local government.
Another concern raised was the rising cost of agricultural inputs. The forum warned that unless farmers receive subsidies and support for dry season farming, poor harvest and hunger could hit the region next year.
Forum drives high cost of agricultural inputs, which might have direct negative consequences on farm inputs outputs next year. To avoid impending food crisis ahead, it calls for more subsidies to farmers and post preparation for dry season farming. Forum agrees to hold the Northeast Fair partnership with Katsina in Maiduguri, Borno State, December 2023.
The forum, which brings together governors of Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Taraba, and Yobe states, reaffirmed its commitment to stronger cooperation in tackling shared climate, food, and security challenges, while calling for urgent federal support and coordinated action to prevent the region from sliding into another humanitarian crisis. They pledged to sustain collaboration among the 6 states while pressing for national action to avert floods and looming food shortages.
And now in the business world, Nigeria and Brazil are deepening talks on economic and financial cooperation with a special focus on mobile money and financial inclusion. The discussions took place in Brasilia between the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, and his Brazilian counterpart, Gabriel Galipolo. During President Bola Tinubu's state visit, the Central Bank of Nigeria said the talks explored areas like payment systems, fintech, monetary policy, and regulatory cooperation. Cardoso highlighted the potential for knowledge sharing in digital finance, stressing that Brazil's experience in inclusion and Nigeria's growing fintech sector could offer valuable lessons. Brazil welcomed the initiative, pledging closer cooperation to boost financial stability and shared prosperity. Away from Nigeria, the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the World Health Organization have launched a new plan to eliminate cholera across the continent. The two bodies, working with African Union member states, unveiled the Continental Cholera Emergency Preparedness and Response Plan for 2025-2026. The strategy aims to cut cholera deaths by 90% and eliminate the disease in more than 20 countries by the year 2030. It calls for stronger rapid response vaccination campaigns and increased investment in water sanitation and hygiene across Africa. Africa CDC says the continent carries the heaviest global burden, with 82% of cases and over 93% of cholera deaths worldwide, particularly in fragile and undeserved communities. Cholera is caused by contaminated food or water, and health authorities say eliminating it will require both medical and social investments. And finally, in sports. In African football, Morocco have clinched a historical third African Nations Championship title, edging Madagascar 3-2 in a thrilling final in Nairobi. And with that, we come to the end of the news update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel for a constant live stream of programs and documentaries. My name is Hawa Gambo, saying thank you for joining us and see you next time.